All right, so well, there we go. I used to play the flute a lot and carry it right here all the time. This flute, carry it with me everywhere. So in Japan, they will use the Kosumo flute for healing, and creativity and healing can have better than creating in order to destroy. Well, it will be fun. They make the tanks for the war green energy with lithium batteries. That will be like for a comedy show, a movie. Yeah, we're not destroying the world. Meanwhile, destroying buildings, people, and trees, whatever is there. I don't wanna make jokes because I mean I don't want to talk about politics because Putin should give this land away and be part of the virtual reality games. Otherwise, him and his people are gonna be blocking his own creativity because he started this war, and that's as Ukrainians are, Russians are very brutal and animalistic as war as Americans. War. I will make analytics and just say that all this kind of like between alpha males, incels, they all do anal sex. They like to be on top and have pleasure, and they come with that. Or by people just sucking their dick, yeah, and they're after us. They're after assholes. You're us, yeah. So, or your Uranus can talk about planets. It will be the same in this planet or in outer space. It's just having workers to do the platform for you and keep heading. Yeah. What can you do? Because you need to be an asshole in order to protect your asshole. Or get some assholes for you to do it. Normally, it never works because they will always try to do it on you if they can. So I was wondering if Bill Gates is going to continue with all these viruses around the world, because nobody's going to want to be talking about this if it keeps on. So it is okay, there is order, and people can see who is rebellious, who's not following orders, to have back to seeing, which is part of a society ritual. So we all come together towards something, and we're a little more organized. Yeah, I know you did it. I know you're there. gosh, it's like when they took all my things, I lost all the vaccinations I had because they took everything with the papers. So to recover all that, can you imagine? Well, now it's electronic, but so I do believe that we can do mansions into villages and role play online virtual reality. Do sports for those who are afraid of being called promiscuous, or how do you call that? Because some people pretend to be, so they look more legal, they have more points, they have more respect, they're more reliable. So all these things that people like to do and make believe, they can do it on virtual reality with their characters, many characters. So it's healing. What's healing is constructive as well, because you can have a corrupted genome. Can have 4 corrupted genomes out of 5 throughout the history of our ancestors, thanks to all these wars and whatever God wanted us to be able to control each country and locality is a term of taking care. So it is good to know that there is a creative impulse to find balance back towards this, which is new. So if the mediation doesn't last until what is today, so 3 weeks before March. So a preliminary mediation. March. Many mediations. And it is beautiful to listen to the news, many people talking about the advantages of Ukraine having all that land or Russia having all that land. I mean, Russia doesn't need more land. What Russia needs is recognition. It's been craving for recognition all its time, and it wants to be as known around the world. So it's the way that, yeah, the way of the rebel, I guess. But it should be illegal to trigger people that don't have much control, because it's very easy to judge them when you trigger them. And also the reporters, all the reporters from United Kingdom were very respectful, but the Americans just trash after trash. Now it's better because they know they can have a nook under their ass anytime, or many at the same time. It's so sad they're also having all these mass gun shootings. What is to be respected from United States is that they do have their statistics and they report their statistics. They have this transparency to show, but we have an epidemic online with all the shootings and all their violence and all this, which is unfortunate to watch. So and it happens in another ways in Canada, but they don't show it because they are more preserved and nice in the cover. The Canadians have a lot of horror stories behind their closets, and by being so fake and nice and disattached from the dark side, or the shadow aspects, what they call, they cannot come to any conclusion. I am against, even though I grew up in a field of meditation, psychology, and all this. And I have told many people there is no need for integration. This is this, and that is that. As long as you recognize what it is, it's good enough. So, like, back off. It does not necessarily have to be integrated, but respect what it is, right? Even though we're all moving, unless we're stuck in character. That would be nice to do statistics of how many people are stuck in character. I mean, in real life, you need to have this character as your identification, where people can address themselves to you. And even some people could be said to be volatile because they change, or they make you feel emotions they don't feel, but you do feel, because it's the first time you go on a carousel, and maybe the person has been driving all its life, doesn't really care much. So, or the person looks to be versatile. Maybe that person has always been the same since ever. It is just the judgment of a person on a first dimensional, two dimensional, and three dimensional that could not understand. It would think he is another species, or it is tagged to be in that way. So some stories need to be expressed as a storyteller, and that doesn't mean anything else but that. So as a person in real life. Now, in virtual reality with your characters, what you can do is step forward or backwards or whatever. You step away from your real life self, and that is a relief to just become an observer, and not just like watching the internet, but watching the play of the other one as you're moving with the other one. It's dynamic, and you get to discover many plays, because you want to do something. So, well, I've always done this, so I'm gonna do this now. You know? And then you think about what could happen. So it's not that you become a mastermind manipulator of role play interactions, but you become a person that is open to experience. So it is so important the government is there in a way, because it needs a synchronicity with virtual reality to catch movements that are a phenomenon without criminalization, but sort of like putting it on standby. Because what happens is why high class is so reclusive away from any other class, because the rest wants to attack, wants to get, wants to destroy, wants to take over. So they just create what is called inner circle, or just with their family, and they're called to be conservative because they just spend their time taking care of what they have, not just because they lack innovation, which deals to that, because you cannot do much if you are in a jail without much fertile ground to enrich yourself with the infinite pathways that are out there and inside your mind. So at the same time as well, or with multiple directions or with a few such entities and how it's formed. So it's not really to tag anyone, but of course center characters are like I have started the last years to not write the characteristics of the character in the front page because I didn't say why, but my best friend said why because he could understand completely because we've been growing for 19 years together and we've shared continuous wars against each other and fights as friends nobody knew, and we share what's universal love and a secrecy which we can understand because we belong to the same brain and we have loved many people at the same time because you love the play. So even though it manifests through any different act, there is always that base of love, even if you want to see them all vanish. But you have to hold on to another game, perhaps, and keep that game there like that. So there are many games, so you cannot really get obsessed with one game. So you let it go because it's part of the game as well to not reveal everything. You always have other games going on in other groups versus or other characters, which you should never reveal whom you are because it's one role that could damage. I don't want to give everything away or why. So, well, I'm still here trying to give this for our world, and I hope they're translated in the infrastructure of a site, so it is understood through the dictionary of cybernetics. So it could be talked to computer engineer because it has and I am not even in my imagination I get there because it's hidden in a treasure far, far away. Far, far away. So nobody could find it, not even if I get 3 clues. So I try not to put any war around it so no one could. You really have to role play and be a person who has empathy. You could never get it without empathy. So at the beginning of role play, the average person will love to feel super powerful and get to woman would normally pick to be the goddess Venus because beauty and love and just to be loved and love. There are certain tendencies that people do at the beginning. You cannot manipulate things. What you can do is just help me stop talking on YouTube or because well these videos are not in the air. I used to talk in other platforms and moving always where nobody hears. So it's just for hackers. It seems like everyone is going to split on their own business and they're going to keep making copies of each other. So it can happen with the tech titans for virtual reality, as with the continents around the world and countries. They will be double faced and mind their own business with their entity of people who are correlated to that system of belief, or they share that philosophy of life, or they have the money to be on that stage of buying that. Virtual reality has many stages, and it cannot go to a higher stage until it doesn't go through. Well, I cannot say it. Uh, so there is a lot of love when you're creating, because you love to creation give you these endorphins, makes you feel in ways where you have find your home. And I think many creators have a lot of feeling they want to feel without limitations, so they don't need other people to feel, and whatever they will do it with one or with the other, they will keep creating because they can't stop. And most of artists have mental illness, so they have to create because it's like a medicine. This is what many painters say, especially on the field of painting or on writing. They can't stop. This can't stop. It will stop and start writing, and is being constructed in your brain, and people don't share their artistic beauty and generosity, which is for other people is grandiose. The same time, one needs to do productive things in real life. Um, what I find is that people with money don't do productive things. It's a laboral class who does productive things. And I find out that people work more like a meditation and get out of their mind. The arts also increases your ego and makes you stuck in character, especially when people have only created the same thing and they're stuck on that form of art. So they think they have found it all, but it's the first time they're expressing. So they get stuck on that. And it's hard to comprehend. Um, Not everyone has the same capabilities. For example, I have pushed my sister to do dancing because she was doing graphic design and to the websites, coding, but she was hugging her boyfriend for 4 hours and going like becoming obsessive. And I grew up with her, so I knew my sister more than my mother and father because they were after their ambitions and they would give us 1 hour a day as if that was part of their duty of loving us and caring for us. And in the morning, I guess that's it. So is I knew my sister had a problem since that she or I was different. So sure, we didn't grow up with other brothers and sisters. Um, so I believe we were also fighting. So I had to fight to be the first. I was already the first, but she came to fight to be the first. So as a soul, and I was like, God, this again. Like, what do I have to prove? I'm the first. Can you see already? I'm the first. Like, cannot see it. So in in family constellation, which is a therapy group created by a Catholic priest who had to leave his priesthood in order to create what he believed he had seen in a pattern, a movement in a pattern of the family, and how the archetype of each character to be respected what it is. And Osho also talked that one chooses their parent. So I do believe there was a fight, but if it wasn't a fight, I don't know. But for sure, it's been through all our life. But it's funny to that you're teaching somebody because you're the big one, and the parent is not there all the time, and the nannies could care less. They don't have the education. They don't know how to draw. They don't know how to swim. They don't know how to listen and play. But you're still a child. So even in adulthood, I had to push her so she becomes a dancer, and she's more in the body. So she could allow to express so much energy, not in the mind, but with the body. So she's better than me with discipline for running. She goes out alone running, and she never had taste or art to do a website or to dress or pick boyfriends. Like, but she was very beautiful herself, and being next to her is been always. Some people make you feel good when you're with them because they have the. They make you feel good with their presence. So she had that. Because my sister can switch from a little lamb to a monster. So that doesn't happen every day, thankfully. My mother never paid attention to that. So now my mother is suffering the consequences of not putting limits to my sister. What she could never bring to art those things in her dance. I had to tell her, because even if she loves to look at herself in the mirror every day, but what I mean is that the reflection that you're seeing with your movement, some people are not capable of simply let go of that image and get a story with a dance or get an expression out of yourself, because the music is pulling you to dance in that way, and you could guess how the music is going to continue even if you never heard that before. So I had to tell her, do this expression like this, do that, look to the person, then look to the unknown. It, and most of dancers are very mechanical just with their moves. because they are always training movement, but they don't have that story, and the face is always it's making the effort of the exercise a very stiff thinking, because they are just on that stage of performing. They're not flowing the acts. In the same way happens with role play and virtual reality. So there are many people who would like to copy from other players and they're learning, but there is a chemistry through the stories, and it's not all encoding on images or what you do. So there is a beauty that's also spiritual, because the synchronicity of stories, or the dynamic, or the attraction or rejection as well, because that also creates a rounding mechanism of different types. So you always get to see and feel that, and your mind divides in order to play other roles, other characters, and you can just cut it off immediately and be in another story. You can see when people become very stuck in character and they will continue fighting on that. And if you have the best role players, which would be just 2 out of 100, have the capability of cutting it off and continuing with another, just go to another character. And well, these dramas, because people are attracted to drama, you can't avoid that. So sometimes these dramas help to move stories rapidly, especially when there is a confrontation, and people get stuck in it. They got nerved in it, and they can't get out, and they go on and on and on, and they could be all day. They're fighting. You've done a few stories, then you come back, and but of course, these are mechanisms where you're winning more capacity because you're taking care of many groups. Yeah, and you sometimes could even flip character. These people who role play for many years and could not even understand that. So you're even fighting against your own self. So to enter with these new players, for example, there are so many ways that you allow yourself to, but you should never know your real life, because then it breaks through the tissue of reality. The character loses its juice. You're not believable anymore. Your character is not as it seemed to be, because they know the person behind it. So it loses all the energy you have put into it. And people need to believe. That happens in movies as well. It's to make believe. And you're only in that character when you're in that character. So sometimes you can be transporting the energy field of news, what you feel at work, anything, and you just move it into a storyline from any direction. It doesn't matter. It's just, it could be metaphysical, and it does affect to people what they do when they are truly immersed. And what I mean immersed, they're completely disconnected from the real life character, right? So it's another form of healing, because the healing is an understanding. Understanding does not have to heal or be fixed or be integrated. I, in fact, would embrace darkness. I mean, I have embrace darkness, virtual reality. I don't want people to die in real life because there are too many assholes. Cannot get it, not even an orgy together. What happens when I talk about orgiacal thinking is that you can feel each other in the same mind when has been congruent. Congruent. You you have fight for that moment to be together and do this, and you agree 100% with all your being that a part of yourself is fully devoted for virtual reality with these rules that which are scientifically proven. They need to be proven by academics or people of relevance and translate it better because I just don't have much to give anymore, but a few words for what it is. So there is a great capacity to love with all the dimensions, with all the emotions. And as crazy as it might seem, it is not. It has an order of its own. When you study the world, you study the timelines, and you study worlds which do not exist, but exist in an imaginary sense. So, meanwhile, the genome map is being put together. The genome map of what is the construct of the information that forms us is with our genes, because the genes are information that runs through our protein. And well, I have no memory to recall how it's formed in a scientific way, but I do know that it's related as well to our characteristics as in a culture, on our family patterns. So it is needed, it is going together as well. There should be a law that it can protect this, so everyone can role play and explore freely. So the mind can move as fast and at the same time in real life learn to mediate with more playfulness without taking things so serious. Because if they take it too serious, they're gonna kill each other. Because they have that fixed idea. And macho man attitude, asshole, Uranus, fuck your ass until you die. Not to destroy your people and others to prove it. Doesn't matter. So we all have that because our ancestors had to do that. And if we continue doing that, we will just have to say, well, you are part of whatever century, right? So you're talking about Hitler? Hitler doesn't exist. You stop growing up. You're talking about the promised land? Afghan, what is it? You're stuck back to 1,000 years in the past. You're still dressing like that. You have problems from 2,000 years ago. We don't have those problems. And like this, on and on. So we have to be very aware that not everyone is evolved is to belong to the European community and have democracy because they don't know how to talk. Yeah, they know how to ask for money, for guns, and because they're as brutish as, and the Americans will put more medals, right? Yeah, we're giving in Afghanistan and I want to forget because I have nothing to do with all these stories. It's not It has nothing to do with me. I should be dancing, meditating, just with my family. That's it. And seeing how the world of virtual reality evolves, of course. That was beautiful. Have my husband, and that's it. I mean, my husband had a car accident, so I have to divorce him. But what I mean is just enjoy life. Don't have it too complicated. I really believe that in real life you shouldn't have it so complicated, because then you become uh, mentally ill. You really believe to be this, excluded from society, doing your own things, thinking you are so special. And there is danger in that when you don't come to dance and just enjoy the simple things of life, really. You can make it great, and anyone can enjoy glamour or special moments, of course. But being separated and isolated doesn't make you any special. It's a trick. I've done that as well. Hackers do that all the time. Role players do that all the time. Or mysterious and excluded. Of course, they're also goofy and funny, and then back to violence again. So there's going to be like a discrimination of laws, and people are going to get with these entities and away from these other entities. If there is not a conversation about cookies, then you're going to just go like floop. People who don't want all this, they're just going to merge into, because virtual reality is by nature is going to pick those who know how to see the cookies and the cake as it is meant to be, right? Obviously. So it's like the Tatinomaquia. I mean, it's gonna be. It's a reality. Don't think you're so special because I sent you that 500 kilos of paper with the formula. Don't think you're so special. What happened to anyone? Virtual reality is going to move by its own nature, and it has these laws. I'm sorry, it's like, it's not that I did it, it's that I have been observing and playing this when you were not. If I take you to court, Bill Gates or Facebook with Meta, who copied, they didn't copy video games, so they copied my formula on what I had sent for the design of the meaning. Anyways, that design could be used because it's been an infinite design from many centuries ago, from the Egyptians times. The infinite, they used to do it like that with the cross as well. I'm just making no noise here. In my dreams, I even see that when I have this to give, I'm like, I don't know, I cannot show it because it's not even in a dream zone. In a dream zone, I go like, yeah, yeah, together. And but I guess there is a love about it that has reunited a curiosity and a power trip at the same time. So I don't understand what people get so much about cookies. The people, first of all, shouldn't be clicking these boxes or having. There's no need to. There's no need to. There's no need to. People can. It's all about money and publicity. What publicity you can do. If I click about obesity because my friend has obesity or my daughter wants, but I don't want all this publicity about and this woman talking about horrible. So algorithms, what they have to be very tough to keep doing what you gotta do and click 10 more times. How many more times a day you have to click to avoid all this? Not only the reality of how our mind functions, but creators work through internet a lot. And in the future, it won't be valued if you're copying other people's content. Of course, because it's meant to go towards what the it's like you're just going to buy more land so you can have more people working for you. People like to have their land and take care of their land and learn some things and also have more hierarchy and rotate as well. Do conventional work in the field just to meditate, just to disconnect from thinking and have a meditation, let the mind just do movements that might be monotonous, mechanic, or just in the moment. So the mind is very addictive. And it's okay. I am waiting because people love to think too much. And they think they are manipulating a game or manipulating something, or that they're special because they're doing this, and that's what makes them be together. But I have seen this. I have created this, and I'm still trying to deliver all the work so it works. So I don't understand how much stupidity is in between, so it doesn't get there. I guess there is a confabulation, formal engaging conversation, talk. In psychiatry, fabricate imaginary experience is compensation for loss of memory. Well, chatted together from Latin, confabulate. Chatted together. Well, a fabula in Spanish is like a story. So con is together, right? Fabulate. Well, which is support, but nobody is in charge of me. That is the reality. Nobody owns me. Nobody owns the rules of virtual reality from roleplay. It will come a time where this is an orgiacal thinking, and even if you were first, you could fall and never be there because you have broken the rules of roleplay and abused them against the will of the wall. Could never work if you are going to put yourself first. You are obstructing it, so you simply fall down because you're not part of of this movement, yeah, of this heartbeat. So there's nothing interesting. Sending a link and hacking is not a big deal. I could have sent it myself an address myself. So I wanted to. I have the dream. So Bill Gates shows the work I sent him one time to me. Those 500 of paper, and he really trusts what is happening to those who are part of it, that have the responsibility to merge in this orgiarchal way of thinking. So, as my mother says, if you do not trust, you cannot gain anything. But treason is always going to happen. People are always going to betray. You have to be smart enough to take care of it in advance. If not, if you cannot in one way, in any other way that you can. So I have studied for patents and copyrights in New York City for 3 months, the School of Visual Arts, in the year 2000, whatever. So it was gonna take too much time until I could patent. So people don't know how to love and trust. People don't know how to be loyal with universal love. And people don't know how to be really loyal to understand what is the best for everyone. So what is the need to copy? Like Google making a phone. Are you stupid? Why do you want to make a phone? Like now Apple has to do a Google research, and it's gonna take forever, and it's gonna slow down for virtual reality as well, even though people need to Google as much to create all this. So well, whatever it takes. Can you control people? But the cookies are number one, because people could never immerse themselves into all sort of crazy characters if they are going to have all these problems with cookies. So who knows? It's sad, but you cannot make things, then you will have to have another computer, and that's what I do. I've done because I have problems with this computer, so I would do on my phone and send the pictures, whatever. So I won't talk much about it, which is very frustrating. Sometimes I think I could just kill myself of her, because I'm not killing anyone. So it's just kind of like all my body's full of toxicity. I mean, I used to just go out running, to dance, or in the gym, and burn it somewhere, or have dynamic meditation and lead it every morning before the sunset. That's very healthy, and dancing as well. Not just my sister, but everyone needs to burn their bodies. And of course, in intimate ways as well. But for some people, it's a luxury to just, I mean, especially just certain genders or scenarios cannot do it, because women have more sexual power. Women can just be with, if they want to, they can be burning a lot of energy. Things that women now are, they are lost. They don't know what to be anymore. I was thinking that uh, I'll be a woman that I will like just a little bit of like a woman of the future, in the psychedelic way of thinking that doesn't exist. It's not punky. Another. It's not really another pop culture or subculture is with the actual tendency, but it has something of its own for the giving times. I would love to train women to role play, but they have to, as any man, put their ego apart. But it's for me, for because I think women are more traumatized than men, and they are very intelligent, but on the other side of the brain, they're very stupid because they continue following these patterns, and you can see them throughout history as well. So it doesn't happen in role play as well. I would love to train a lot of women to role play, but because it is going to have, and I'm not gonna share much because this is not open source. I work for it. This is not just designing a pen that is a copy of another pen. I didn't copy this from anyone. I do own players, so they can become managers of role play, and they own it because they've been part for me to detect that movement, and I need to bring a few to note it. Even though I can explain it myself, but they can make it happen. So normally we don't meet face to face or talk much because it's just on the characters. By soul, we know who is who, even if you make new characters. And some people, you always saying this person is because they have these similarities in how they. But it's beautiful to just get lost away from who is who, and because that's how people want to make friends by women, especially like to make friends by knowing who is behind it. So this has to this has to stop because characters don't operate like that if you do not know who is behind it. Of course, they are they are partners because it happens to develop chemistry with groups through the stories, and sometimes you like to take them everywhere. I don't do that because that's why I had more groups and friends by not mixing them or taking them with me, because then they would want to oppress me and they would want to dominate me and they would harass me. It is always the same mechanism. It's always the same. You're not doing enough characters for me, or look at all I do for you. And I guess that's the way people do with votes and following, because what's been made in Facebook is all a copy of what's been there already with computer games, with likes and voting. People vote. So that's the ranking they give. And this kills a lot of the flow of the story, which can go so fast when people are looking to have friends. And I mean, they want friends who will stick with you forever, but at the same time, then you don't have the ability to move freely because you're stuck to this. So if you're sacrificing yourself in order for the group, that happens in every family. In psychology, is well known. So in virtual reality, when people don't know and protect many role players, especially males, from many women who want to jail them and use them for them only because they're serving them. And I say, well, it's to fight for the rules of role play and the imaginary, because then you can create, and you have times when you're alone. You can be designing the structure, and I'm not going to share more because it's not the way. It's not the way how it's going to work. So if people are not nice and honest, then they should never belong to virtual reality. They should lose all their money, because nobody should invest with liars or frauds or anyone who thinks to be so that they can do that to anyone. And we have to heal and understand these people are just learning. They know nothing. They're copying, they're learning, they're just learning. I don't understand why Google would make phones when iPhone has invested so much. Telsa is open source, so everyone has done his cars, and now they want to push him down. Whatever, I don't think they're gonna push him down because they're intelligent enough to be doing what they're doing already. It's not easy to see how the bank system works, how we need our localities, and how we're going to build this um, different atmospheres for different situations. I do believe crypto money should be illegal, but people who have a lot of money have their ways to hide it. As, as Russians use shift pay petrol, shift sweet. So be nice just to to feel love with what you love to do and be capable of getting as many targets at the same time, so everyone in the world can grow to a minimum of a decent life without having to be murdered because you're helping them or you're learning and exchanging. That's the way it should be said and the way it should be. And have as many mediators before you so they don't kill you, because the hatred towards someone different is great because they don't know what it is. They have these ideas and concepts. So time passes by, and now it's Monday. So moving from Sunday to Monday. Oh, I just woke up looking at the full moon in the afternoon coming up. So I was lazy to take a picture. And it's a full moon in Leo. So the moon is emotions, and I have the moon in Leo in my astrological chart. So emotionally, we like to take over the room when we enter, like be the center of attention. Whatever we are speaking or not, normally we just be dancing and we're playing the flute. Talk. I have trained myself to talk, and it's not that I'm really good at it. Some people, even though some people talk better, but they don't know a shit of what they're talking about. So I thought I have to speak to let this out in the best way possible without having to be so plain and boring, or at least hook you with the rage of it. Because the perfect life can be tedious. I mean, some people are out there fighting every day and putting their image there, so they don't need that. They don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need rage towards myself. I don't need I don't need another asshole. Or like, you're right. So yeah, I was very in jokes since childhood and teenager. And when a teenager, people would just hurt their bellies in the floor and would beg me to stop. So I was always very good with the jokes. Um, I would love to meet my teacher. I was afraid of her, but I admire the way she dressed very classy, and she was very elegant. The teacher of language. My best friends, the twins, they liked her as well, even though she was tough. But she was elegant. She was not like uh, because we would pick the teachers where we would be mean to them. We will give them back what they deserve. The the arrogant teachers who have no. I mean, I was the only one who would take it on the priest, the teacher of religion, because of course the rest of the class would be afraid of the priest. But I would tell to the priest, you have no compassion. How dare you teach us religion? Yes. I come from the basketball ring, which is far away, and we don't hear the bell. So how dare you say that I am lying? You have no compassion. Also, you have many trees, so you cannot see when everyone left, and you had to run 2 buildings until the third one to get to your building and run up the stairs. And not only you have been trying to run as fast as you can because you've been playing basketball all day long, you're sweating and you're giving your best to get on time. See, it's like it's gonna the priest is kind of asking you to not play basketball anymore and have your life next to the bell so you're on time because his class and God is more important. Eh, this is eh, don't do that to children. Sometimes he thought look at me as if I was evil, and I look at him like, I know what you're about. But I was not really like, I love you because you're next to God. I really love you for whom you are, not because you're a priest or someone in particular. So I also knew he wasn't stupid. So he knew I was cheating, but he never got me. So he didn't have the evidence to say it, but he would look at me when he was talking about cheating and all this. So I look at him like, because like if you were fun to watch, maybe I would memorize it, right? Weren't you more fun with your stories? Because everybody would raise their hand to be right and be good, to be the chosen God from God. I would also love to meet this priest because he was intellectually daring to me. And I would look at the end of the book where was all the religions there, and I would look at him like, "What's wrong with you?" And I would say, "Well, but they are in the book that you're giving me this book." Because he would fight me. Well, I came from an intellectual family, so intellectual family that knows how to debate until a climax where both are one. And this form of argumentation is only known by a few, which know what is the climax, and sometimes it's always on the climax. So you bring people to the climax through the rotation and orgiacal form of thinking. No matter how much the debate is against you, there comes a moment where there is a mutual agreement towards both sides, but with all the adjustments that you have done and played each other. So you brought me this book with all these religions in the back of the book. And now you're telling me that I would be a sinner, something like that. Or I won't go to heaven because other religions, blah, 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 blah. Oh, but this is to show because there are other religions, and well, so what is so wrong? These people were born in another country with these religions, so they want to put you this hatred there, right? People have been fighting for this. People keep fighting today. It's the same race that rapes a child and picks him out of the class out because he's special. They would think girls and women are evil because they still feel for that childhood tenderness of being a boy, and they reflect that moment with the other boys. Now they are the doers, but they meet with the meeting. It's like a compensation for the lost innocence they had to recover the love of that child who was misunderstood. And they say once again, "You're special." That's the language they share. We were going out on a trip with the bus. We were already with nuns, girls and boys, and we had all day with the nuns in the monastery, and then we were going to the priest monastery. I was the first one out of the bus because I was very curious. So there I was, and I was in the stairs of the bus as one of the teachers there and listening, little one, because there was a problem. They said there was a problem because. So I say, "Why do you not allow us to enter? Because they are girls here." I mean, I wasn't that of a girl. Maybe I was 12 or 11. So that priest that was our teacher, he looked at me again as if I was evil, and that the priests were right to not allow girls there, only boys. So they don't allow us there. We'll never forget the impression that they left me because it's the same look, it's the same chain reaction that you can put into a movie with flashes of a sequence. In addition, you're evil. Yeah, because but the thing is that I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was sex. I didn't know all these things. But what is the obscenity? I used to be alone and be celibate. It is beautiful to burn your energy and it doesn't dissipate into other people's problems unless you're sharing the same problems. The thing is, the healing allows you through creativity and recapturing these forms of visual effects, this all this information through the senses that is not just trapped in the mind as a memory storage, but through your senses, because it's related to this feeling, it is related to this notion and these words which mean this, it is forming. So this week that enters in Monday is for that which is within, and is the construct of yourself, because it also composes you. For example, I was born in Venezuela from Spanish and 25% Italian, right? So wherever I go, I will look like that. Not only that, but the places I have lived, I won't be as my father and mother, because they've given me such education. They have taken me to India. I have learned from the stage of an immature as an observer. So I didn't suffer like the adults who put all their money in India and then they lost it when Osho died because they wanted to be there until the end of their times. Many things happen after the master died because corruption begins. People were working for love and unconditional. They loved to see him in the discourse. And there was a collective Buddha field. They call it Buddha field because everyone doing meditation, dancing, hugging, 3, 5 people, whatever, you know them or not, just by the in silence without even talking. You wouldn't have to talk to them again. Just um, there was a higher frequency of energy among everyone, especially that they were not working for money; they were working for free, which at the same time is abuse, because a lot of people lost the money they put there. People working unconditionally. Where do you think they get the money from? They work or they sell everything they have until it's burned out. And after Osho died, many people stole that money, which was a lot, naturally. Hmm? To copy, to steal. A child is copying because it doesn't know. A person that doesn't know needs to copy. But if you're mature enough, you know you're stealing because it's not your work. Now you want to share something, it's because you were caught by stealing. So now you like to share it. Yeah? Because I told you to bring these people. Or you want to use me in your mind. So in role play, you get to visualize different plays, and it helps you to get away of being stuck in character, because people will always hate you for that at the same time, because you're stuck in that character, and nobody's gonna change that narrative. because of that fixed idea. So, once that story is in the air, you have 2 weeks to fix it. Be prepared in advance. But if you weren't prepared, that story stays forever. So, one of the many rules of roleplay. You can stick it up your ass with my 𝙤𝙬𝙪𝙧𝙠. That's what Styx would say. Which, by the way, is a character. It's not like, is like a capsule. The Hades, the iron from Hades is impenetrable, and in Greek mythology, no soul can enter or go away from the walls of iron that exist within hell, Tartarus. Cannot get in or out. So it is meaningful, and is under no mythology, because I made the story of the Iron Hades dildo, which is Pallas. So Styx walks with it as if it's a police baton. But one is unleashed, it takes over any characteristic as a man, and Pallas is called Phallus. Styx in my stories calls this character Phallus when he's in the I mean in his storyline looks very funny and erotically. It's kind of like a comedy out of it is a comedy because this is a goddess of rage. It's not only the goddess of hatefulness, but I call it the goddess of divine rage or hatefulness if it's unconscious. And divine rage, as miraculous, as horribly it could be. So she holds this dildo with all the rage that her domain possesses because she's the goddess of rage. And it has the characteristic with Pallas, which in Greek mythology is her husband. And when it goes in the form, it's like encapsulates it. Because the character of Pallas is well, I made it uncontrollable. It is the god of warcraft, but it's the god of all the crafts because it has the quality of Zeus, which is the same god in the generation of the Greek mythology. After the Titanomachia had been won and it was over. So Zeus only shows the light of a composed, benevolent man. He does not show his Titan form or his shadow form, which is the other Zeus, because that is the civilized ways to be. That's where it's separated one generation from the other, the civilized. In astrology, they say we're moving away, even though the civilization is going to continue with all these brutish wars of supposedly civilized laws and reasons of the Greek. But we're moving into the next 2,000 years of planet 𝙤𝙚, which is a goddess from the North Pole, from the natives, however you call them. So this has to do a lot with the way we think. Some of us already are more intuitive and are immersed. Not all the time, but at least sometimes. Not immersed in internet or posting memes and some lines about the real life problems that people, but simply immersed in another world within this world, because you totally don't belong to that civilization, even if you move by. So my character adopted also the name of 𝙤𝙚, 𝙤𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙞, mortificare of hell, because the waters have connection with the ocean. In Greek mythology is with Neptune or Oceanus. Oceanus is the titan of the seas. So 7% of the waters of the ocean, which is of the living, go down to the river Styx in Greek mythology. So it also comes out the gates of the sun as a rebirth. So that is a map of a story, as many stories and other maps could be. As a point of reference, we do need to keep a feet on the ground, but eventually in the future, people will live with another coin and another form of living, and they won't be counting on money because it's gonna move through another frequency. They're never gonna see it, and other countries are gonna still fighting. They're gonna still being obsolete, like the Muslim fighting with Israel, with the Jews are also slow-minded as the Muslims are, and any person that's fighting for a piece of land is as slow-minded as it can be. Because I learned to it's the only truth, and they all think in the same way, so they all go to war together and kill each other again because that's the way to be. It's always been done. Well, yes, sir. I've done 9 wars at a time. I've won them all through many years, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to play war games. I mean, of course, it's fun when they think you're a man, or God is from the underworld. It's supernatural. But this is not true. That's just and people take it to the letter. People look really really upset, like if it's real. I think one of the things that let me be more creative is because I don't take it so seriously. I really go on and just really just don't take it so seriously, but they really live only in that. If they knew that you have like dozens of groups, and that's the only group they have, I'm like, oh my god! And if they have other groups, they keep doing it in the same way, so you could tell it's them. Not that they really have, but when I'm gone, the role play stops. The saga, because I cannot be doing always the same thing, and there is a mechanism, so it can work by itself. So I don't have to be there. But moving all this, because it takes effort. It takes this way of thinking. Nobody has. And my friend has it. Maybe another, and they all have it. But why do they lose it? So I know why, but I'm not gonna say like this just because I need to express myself or be understood. I don't care if people understand me or not. I want things to work. They're not gonna work like this, just hacking and copying and Confabulating. Confabulating in Spanish is more like they're making a story away from yours. So they are confabulating. It's not that they're gossiping or talking bad, but they are making a story, not necessarily a plot, but sort of confabulating. It has a little bit of coming together to, it has a bit of Machiavellism in Spanish. When they say están confabulando, normally it's against us. So they're getting together talking. Not against, could be against, but kind of they're getting on something. Whatever it is. So is the way, well, it's interesting again. In psychiatry, confabulating means to fabricate imaginary experiences as a compensation for loss of memory. Many people that lost the memory from their childhood is because they have a trauma. So they forget that in order to survive and be happy, because they're happy all day long, just to forget that incident that might be happening again and again once a while. So they just have no memory of their childhood. I have memory of my childhood, but I have very good childhood. Very good childhood. I guess the imaginary is looking to create, and the plants grow by themselves. You put some water, you can take care of what you already have. It wouldn't take more than 4 hours, 3 days a week, just to keep what you have. Well being. I thought that's, if you think better, you don't need to work much. Sometimes you have to prepare a field, so of course it is nice to harvest the land again and again and again. Have that curiosity again. This is the same season. Let's see if I can do this garden this year or not. So, anyways, it's it's a little bit sad because I am not moving much. Well, things are moving. Hopefully, nobody dies anymore in this war. And I don't think anybody that's supporting this war should be part of virtual reality because it is dangerous to share it. So I will leave it at that in the name of creation for that which is within, that you're feeling and nourishing, and the values, the beliefs, the target, desires, the disposition, and stillness of a culture, and the pattern that carries in the name of the future history. I don't think Putin should be part of virtual reality if he believes in war, unless he retrieves and accepts there should never be a war again. But in this way goes the same to anyone who invests in killing people. Everyone is going to know that thanks to internet. Well, you're fucked. Meanwhile, we can have fun and just do our things. There must be a way where one can meet and let it roll. But for sure, there are gonna be hackers copying it. So, as I told to my friends to not do any movement, because we know that's not that easy for some. So it would be nice to make a beautiful world and show the possibilities for people to be able to manifest the tools that they need to be able to know, to be able to always recount there what they have, what they need, just the basics. To have a group of people to talk on each continent. What is the beauty of continents is that they can learn from the best without having to, because they are from their own culture, the ones who can say to them, hey, you cannot be cutting people's organs so you can control the mother of your children, or like is their own culture telling them instead of an outsider culture. It's the same culture from their own continent, and that we are not alone. They used to do this as if it was normal. People don't have to be materialistic. They can still live in the deserts if they want. We can still learn from the deserts as well. It's not so bad. So with with these pens that are charcoal, they're called also wet chalk marker. One can draw in top of a glass. So one can have a glass that is there's a window transparent and just draw on top and be able to discuss with other people this dynamic and be able to turn it around. So I do this wet charcoal from the other side. White. So to start, because they are other people need to get involved with the map of the world. It cannot just be in a computer. It has to be private, intimate, in real life. That is what we need to recover. So people like to meet to do this again and again and again for their own continent because they share this. They already know from day one, since they are inside the womb of their mother, on the inside of their culture. They know the values of their continent, they know their soil, they know what is not just in a database. So they can feel for the world, not just burning the trees to get all this wood to make more material because they want to help the Amazon and the environment. That's they already burned a lot of in Chile, just after the first minister of Germany left. Sometimes I think that Putin is right that these neo-Nazis exist, and what used to be a joke might be a reality. I used to joke, "Oh, Hitler would be so happy knowing that Germany or owns the European community. They own Europe, Germany." And not only that, they think to own South America. They think to invest with the King of Spain. But Spain can invest by their own, and they already have invested centuries. But if they're going to allow these mentalities to, because they are double, we have to remember that the Aryan and Saxon, they are double. It's their nature. They have to because of the cold weather. It was their survival, their nature, it's their construct. They have it in their Nordic god. They have it in many stories. It's like the scorpion is their nature. So, and they're going to do it again and again, and they're going to want supremacy over the world by being double, by stealing, by lying. So it's like the Americans. They get the best people around the world. The same guys who have money pick the white males, but they pick them. They pick them to have these jobs. Like they pick Bill Gates. Whatever Bill Gates was doing is irrelevant. There are thousands and hundreds of genius. But his family was controllable. He was good controllable. Yeah. They stick to the letter. Well composed. Is within their constructs. And that is never going to change. Never. Until they are brought down to the level of everyone on this earth. To cooperate and stop fucking around with people's lands and countries. So this goes to anyone who is doing this. Could be Chinese, Russian. This mentality. What is so good to be so free and expressive if you are creating misery in the world? Because that's what the Americans do. They won't allow anyone to be better. That is the white mentality. The white trash, white flat mentality. If you keep fucking up everyone, so you keep being on the rise. You will never allow anyone to have more money than you. Fuck them up, any country, anyone. Take their inventions as well, and just let's pretend we are all together for the world. Yeah, well, there are many vertientes. There are many tendencies around these forms of constructing a story, but underneath it all is the one who has no heart, who will remain until the end, to the very top. And that is a format of belief. It does not mean this is the only one. So if you are excluded from feeling, you can operate in that way and make believe you are above. It's like the Wizard of Oz. As long as you don't know who the Wizard of Oz is, it will look like he's extraordinary. 'Cause nobody has it's like another person. They call me the Wizard of Oz in role play. So of course, if they see me in real life, they see I'm an idiot like anyone. Probably I make a mock out of narcissist characters because I find it fascinating because I am a super empath. Like I can feel people in my own skin even if I don't want to. So well, it makes me laugh a lot, the narcissist characters. I've been always judged with the same thing. Oh, because you think you're perfect. So I have been around the world, not everywhere, but and I've been in high class, low class, middle class. I hate middle class. I rather be on the subterranean class than being with the middle class. So or the rich, the newly rich. It's because I was raised in a way, and then all these ways change. But I've been always insulted in the same way. So as decades would pass by, because at the beginning I would think, oh, well, it's because I was educated in a certain way. So now I have to. But I would always just keep quiet and smile. Like, so what's the problem? What's the problem? I'm not bothering you, am I? Uh, oh, you smart arse. Mm, then what's this like? What is the problem? What is the problem? Like, this is for all of us. It's not for me. So I had to deal with a lot of narcissists and try to get in the way so things work, especially my mother. When you're born with a mother like this, you do it as part of your living. It's part of your living. It's your resource of life. And everything that is around you, you reflect it as the relationship with your mother. And I used to draw her every day in love with my mother with blonde eyes, mm, blonde and blue eyes. Like if she was a Barbie, an angel, goddess. She was very beautiful, and I still love her. And I'm not against narcissists at all. I think I'm also super narcissist. Uh, I could play it better because I am not, so I take the piece out of it, and that's why people like my characters so much. So I have tried to always put that synthesis of the fear that somebody knows more, so is evil. So I play those things because I smile. I used to smile and think, what's wrong by what's wrong with it? Because I don't see anything wrong with you. I'm talking about this thing. But people are always fighting to win, even in conversations or anything, to step to territory, to impose power. Who has the power in this conversation or this case scenario? Impose power over it's in place depending of the characters that you have. Because you can engage because you're both running away from something or you are part of something in particular, so you can forget it. So there are many stories who can drive you into taking the story for a run. So sometimes it's not really for the goal, like they would say many times. Well, you're here just for the rush of it, aren't you? Uh, well, they know that because they're also for the rush of it. And no person that isn't in a rush of it would tell you that unless they know what it is. So it's not really that you are perfect, or you think you're smarter because you're just there for the fun. So it's not fun to always play these characters because in the long run it becomes tedious and we call it calcified and unflexible. Um, these characters need other characters as well, at least sometimes. And maybe they need more than other characters, others. They have more need than others. These characters that are psychopath or sociopath or have narcissism. The some characters that are we call it borderline. They could never create a character that is evil as a tyrant, but they might just do things that are in a middle range, manipulative order. These kind of characters and people who have this, they might not look like they are, but they are inside their house. Everyone is walking on eggshells because they are borderlines and they're desperate to have this love because they don't love themselves. So they're looking that from the other and they go crazy mad. Many also have been mm, fall into murder because of jealousy. It's very because they don't have their love to love the self, not just yourself, but the self, or mirroring the self with the other, however it is. And they can manipulate with children, with family, with status, shouting, throwing things. And it's very hurtful when you don't come from that environment and you're just a loving person. Even if your family had loved many people, but they're still best friends and together as adults, not as. I don't consider these borderline narcissists because they are below the category of a narcissist. 𝙬𝙧𝙪𝙧𝙘 says they are middle range narcissists. But I have always thought it's too much to call this person a narcissist because it's a borderline. It's below. Like, what can you expect for that? They're very easy to manipulate and have them there to work for you because they would do anything for you because they're so desperate for love, but they don't know what love is. But they're always making up. They do everything for love because they are for sale. And they're always threatening. If I don't do this, I mean, some people fall into that. I had a boyfriend who had that, and I felt very loved. I feel very special because perhaps I don't know what love is as well. But I know what love is in different forms, and I guess I'm one of lucky people who've been able to love. I can die in peace and say I had love. I have been loved. But when he told me that he went in a shower with the iron to kill himself for his ex-girlfriend, then I thought, oh, he has this pathology. He's not that he loves me so much that he would die for me. 'Cause of course it fulfills your fantasy. Oh, somebody will love me so much it would die for me. Because this is a borderline. So it nourishes whatever trait of narcissism you have and makes you feel sorry at the same time that they're suffering without you. Makes you feel important, but there is the. So I had to call the police in Canada. This is not the father of my children, of course. I would never marry a person like that. But I called the police and I told him, next time you're gonna go to a psychiatrist for 1 year because you're a danger to yourself if you keep threatening me. That will make you feel responsible if they kill themselves. But this will go on, and I had to be there to see my children in Canada. I was trapped. I was trapped in Victoria, and I had over 8 to 13 police reports because of harassment, but also breaking property and threats. So I had to make peace with this person. So I am with this person. So the situation calms down. It was very sweet. So I thank that, but it was not worth it, the drama. In that time, I wouldn't pay attention of the drama, which is see it as if it's a movie and not really get. But sometimes I needed to walk away because just unbearable. And it will keep following me and become violent to force me, not like aggression. Oh, but it was funny one day because the neighbors called the police, and there were like 8 police jumping in top of him, and the funny thing is that that day the police got wrong the address because we didn't have an order of whatever this order where you don't meet, because I never made that. I said, well, it takes two to tango. Thank you for coming, because you are creating boundaries so it doesn't go to worst. So because what could I do? I couldn't tell them all the problem. What one day I did with a long questionnaire, and it was very interesting. All the questions the police did in the police station, because women that are from another country or are illegal. My husband didn't want to make me legal because he wanted to take my children away from me with his girlfriend. So I had to ask for a visa. My visa ran out. I had renovated it 3 times for 6 months as an European in Canada. And after 1 year and a half or so, I had to ask for a visa. Like, I mean, my husband had a car accident, so he couldn't think well. It was not that he was evil, but he was possessed by anything on his mind that would be so real because of the shock from the car accident. So it was very hard for me to be understood. There were a lot of lies that at the end the ministry understood that I was correct, but the ministry kept on lying to hide the mistakes they did. So it's very easy to judge when you don't know, but when you find out the whole truth, you could prevent so much if you knew. For some people, it doesn't matter because they don't care about anything. So, 'cause they're always isolated, so they don't have connection with reality. They need to take these stories and feelings from others. not just the creativity and the investment, which takes a risk. So everyone has the right to be creative, and everyone is welcome to get undressed in a orgiacal way of thinking, in a form of being, because it's not sexual, but it's part of the formation into the rules for virtual reality to happen for the future and the rest of the generations ahead. And once it's in paper, an agreement, you will understand why. You will understand why so clearly. You won't need a chip in your mind to see it. What I mean. At least on for for the agreement. I don't mean all of your being, but that all of your being does not betray that part of your being. As those who are involved to make that happen for the many. And if the world is not together to do it, it might happen secretly until certain tech companies fall down and the world is in peace. No matter who you are, who you used to be, or what you did, you can have the world that you believe is yours with stupid people that you can dominate. Hmm? That you think to be helping with viruses. 'Cause you are a philanthropist and a super famous geek. They will keep saying the same story again and again. I have great stories to hairbrush what people think about you, but you made that yourself. I mean, I didn't do anything yet because it does not interest me. It interests me that you come with the work I'm giving you on the yellow pages and you tell me. But if something is obstructing you, then it's because you belong to that system of belief, which has no creativity as such. Industry is creative in a certain form, but it's not all of it. When it comes to an eighth art of creation. So when you put the map of the world in a globe and you see what you need, that which is universal benefit, and people report, and you can see this. It is not an illusion, yeah, because they're reporting in not just they're also reporting the climate problems they have. But all these companies from around the world could try to have this formation, but the continents themselves can speak with each other without having to feel oppressed that a colony is behind them, or the white supremacists, or the neo-Nazis, or the communists from Russia, or the, I mean, of course, They would do it for money from the Chinese. But the Chinese know they cannot control Africans and South Americans. And I mean, if they try to control them like the Chinese people, they're going to be there learning. Because now they're like, yeah, give us all your money and we're going to make this function. We're not going to stop dancing because of you. They know that. So people need to make an effort, because if they don't make an effort to go and meet with certain heads of state of their own continent to see this globe and think for their own continent, they won't appreciate it. I appreciate my work because I have worked it. I have made the effort. I have put everything I could with my will and against my will and beyond my will. It never existed before. You can go and play with your Wii in a computer game. Could care less if you burn your eyes. Good for you. But the imaginary world needs a fantasy that has nothing to do with your real life, once again. But you learn a lot about interaction without having to study much or go to psychology or therapy groups, because these therapists as well, and these people sooner or later are also perverted. They do abuse. I have seen it over and over again. And the better they are, the greater abusers they can always be. So role play teaches you the many ways, and it's part of being creative as well, because you want to harness, you want to teach, you want to do, and sometimes you want to take a loud laughter about it. But at the same time, not everyone learns to move away to let the game move on, because it takes play after play after play where you see how much progress have you done by moving away from that game to just go and check it out, let them grow. Because by losing control, you're gaining more control because they're taking care of it. And this is what the colonies are doing in another level. They have taken another stage, which is not from government, but it's always more elevated. You cannot fight that fact in many levels: spiritually, mentally, physically, materialistically, in the share of the language, the share of the values. But still, it needs to come down to earth to transform and meet. The more time that is going away, the same frame of time I am within the same movement, doing everything again and again and over again. As the seconds of the watch go around each minute, an hour, and day. Because I haven't role played as I used to from the year 2020, and my friends are not role playing as they used to from October 2020. So it's not all copied, because it was a probability if I didn't pay my patent that they wouldn't pay me for sending this work. And they have done that. They have said, oh, they're just bloggers. Oh, yeah, but they have tried their still. So it's not easy being right. You can have other potentials, but what I want is for people to learn how to be expressive. And of course, by natural order, this could never happen in hands of corrupted people. who hack, who steal, who copy, who allow misery from everything they steal, not only from mothers and children who should be together, but the fathers dying in Ukraine, the peoples, because they have no values. Corrupted people cannot have values. I mean, they can have a lot of things around, but I can clean my ass with what everything you have right now. And trust me, imaginarily, my ass is smarter than yours. I can fuck your anus as much as I want, and you wouldn't even know it is who it is. Perhaps you like it. You coming again and again for it, but you won't admit it. You don't know the controversies of your consciousness. So it's better that you face things. And that's how role play works, right? That's how it works. It moves. And I'm here to tell you how. So if you don't move, how are you going to get more money if you're losing all this money? You didn't even discover cancer. I mean, any certain cell that will go in your body will automatically auto-destroy just to see the vibe. how, till how long? Till how long are you going to support this? Till how long? You could have hundreds of mediators all around the world to stop all these wars already. Interactive players. I have only given this little bit of everything I have got. And your money stinks to me. I'm not interested in what you think. I have more power for what I have find that you could ever imagine exists in your lifetime as it is. As it is. Technology is nothing without the human tool of talking with each other in order to do things with action. So here it goes. It is a pervert world or not. It's not half-half because yeah, right. And then killing in the back, yeah. I can smell people like you from years late. No one would like to come to a planet that is so beautiful and it has so much heavenly beauty, having people like you on this earth. Because no matter how much money you have, the majority of people are like you, ready to kill for money, ready to destroy for power, to be right, ready to fuck women's and children's ass for superior pleasure, to conquer, but not like in a glamorous way. Artistically glamorous. So you're afraid of craziness and madness, because you have not yet discovered your own dramas to play them. So be a fanatic of the act itself that can emanate through others. And I'm not here to judge anyone. As long you're carrying your own judgment, you're carrying your own cross, you're carrying your own talk. Then okay, let them go with their supremacy talk. There you go. Go, yeah, go to war, yeah. Go. Yeah, we're gonna send these tanks with renewable energy. Yeah, I mean, Europeans could never get like they're trying to go green and compete who gets more green energy. There goes Ursula saying, "Yeah, we're gonna be competitive to see who's gonna have more green energy with Europe or USA." Yeah, let's send from Germany these tanks that are with renewable energy. It's just not. It doesn't fit in your brain. Like what are you guys about? You don't know how to talk, really? Can you just talk at least within yourself before? Or you have to do what everybody. Yeah, go do what Bill Gates wants because all these people that are supporting on vaccines in Wuhan and all the dictators from the world love to the idea of controlling their people. So they can follow through government rules even if we have all these viruses. So they all were like, yeah, we're leaders of our countries. So nobody cares, right? Bravo. Oh, yeah. There you go. Go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a genius. Whoever had this idea before him, because it was not his idea, that was happening already. Probably before he was born, these ideas. So, well, and viruses and. But it's a collective thinking where they all agree. Yes, we are part of this. We're special. We're yeah. I mean, it's not that I'm a rebel against of any particular group, but after you have a universal understanding, it's not a joke. Things start to turn a little bit serious because it does not only happen in reality, it's also happening in virtual reality. So then you are, I have to fix this. I have to fix this pattern. It's going to repeat over and over again. And whoever is willing to step whatever up front, because the multiverse does not have a lineal guarantee. You're gonna start here and finish there, right? You have to role play. I can tell you why. But probably Jordan Peterson is going to continue doing talks and he's never going to role play. Maybe he's going to copy everything he can and talk about it like he knows, and everybody's going to say, yeah, because they don't know what he's talking about, and probably he's wrong. But he got a little idea from it, but it's not. You can see the tissue of reality, yeah, but what do you know if you've never created any tissue of reality with others' tissues of reality? You're just walking on this earth, buying suits, and just reporting what you learn, putting some things together. It sounds like a genius, but it is good that people can role play in order to establish inner conversation. But this is not really to be analyzed. What it does need is a scientific, legal agenda that it can be passed through government, through the the tech giants that internationally are going to bend this together. And then the parts of the world So I can say this over and over again, and you're gonna go against the wall again and again. And China could cry in the floor and fight against. But if America has more tech giants than China in the world, they have to understand they are not half, because they are also tech giants. Virgin Records, the Virgin Records, they're not records anymore, but they are also tech giants and the visionaries of virtual reality from the first generation, because you would never have it with the computer games until you know what this is about, of course. So don't hide to do this. Don't postpone to make some Machiavellical story for this, when this happens and this and then that and this. Be simple and clear, and that's it. Just, I'm not going to bring any fantasy stories to talk about this. I will just talk like a normal person, and I'm not writing or doing anything because I don't like hackers sharing my work or using it for killing people, innocent people. Just to see this grandmother and this little toddler girl in Ukraine with all these bombs going on their heads, and the little toddler and the what do you want? And the girl took time to think. She was maybe 3 years or 4. Beautiful Ukrainian baby girl, 4 years. Those are the ones I love to take care of. Toddlers. I mean, I love all the kids, but after they're 7, they're already like little dictators. They already know how to lie. So I love if toddlers, and after that, I mean, I love them all. But she was taking time, and she said peace with those cheeky cheeks. Peace. Wish I wanted it. When you believe in eternity and the frequency of eternity, you would measure how important it is to guide these frequencies into peaceful death and creation. For that which is violent should be moved in other forms. If you need violence to have a tectonic shift, do it up your ass, because you are the one who needs it. No one needs it. And that goes to Putin. That's why the Kundalini meditation exists, the dynamic meditation exists. That is why the gibberish meditation exists. That is why the mystic rose meditation exists. They are not yoga positions where you pretend to be nice and just stretch and breathe. No. They are to move your first, second, and third chakra, and more meditations are all about that. So, what are you gonna do with all this knowledge? Nothing. If you're not being creative, bye. It heals by itself because it's understood.